40%, so it's, and I'll probably need to have a break anyway at some point. So the basic of medical microbiology, I'll skip the bacterial infection, pathogenesis and more, and go directly to the mycology trade of fungi, fungal diseases and more. That's the main thing that I want to learn about. And apparently this thing up here is, apparently I can't make it go away apparently. Settings in the program is set to, take it off as I understand it. Hide the record window when record, and hide the recording button on home page. It's activated, but apparently it's still on. I don't know what about, it's very annoying because, I could just open up here and get the options, but apparently, it's just wants to pop up over here, so that's kind of annoying. But anyway, let's go on. I just got a liter of sour milk. I guess it's some kind of a yogurt. Very, very sour. I'm not sure how much the pH is down, but it's in a what do you call it, a pot. So I can't really see if it's actually dividing. I can. So I'm not sure how far it is in its process to see if it actually begins to divide the, what is it called? When the I can't remember what it's called. Anyway, I do have others sitting in my living room or whatever you want to call it, and they doesn't seem like they haven't began to go into this process. It's like 2 days now. I haven't tasted, if they are sour or anything like that, but hopefully they don't go bad. It's like 2 liters in both of them, so hopefully it will become good medicine for the gut. As I understand it, like 3 pH to 4 pH is very good, if you can get it down there and, get the sugar out of the milk as well. Sadly, it's not raw milk, but, and, I've looked at on the machine that it actually can make it would be, if I can get the process totally worked out and all that, just put the 4-liter milk or 5-liter milk into a pot, and just, put some yogurt in it or whatever, and make it go, and yeah, that would be nice. So it is said to be pretty good at taking out the bad guys, I'm still kind of, the sour thing and all that. I do have some issues with my teeth in regards of, the sour, the low pH. So I'm using a straw. So when, I used a straw when I did my kefir as well. And the straw just makes it, you get behind the teeth when you're drinking it. So yeah, I think it's less, just, less of an issue for the teeth when you do the straw. It's just a great thing. I have these glass straws and all that, and just wonderful for drinking sour milk or kefir. I remember kefir did give you like a goody feeling, but I was still a little concerned in regards of the sour and the alcohol. But it's not. I never got drunk on kefir, So not like the kombucha and the water kefir. The milk kefir was pretty. That was the best things that I've tried in regards of probiotics and all that. Getting live probiotics into your gut. So I can't remember why I actually stopped doing it. I guess because I didn't really see any, results over time. I probably had to. I didn't know in regards to only eating meat and all that. So again, that might actually be meat and probiotic. In a really sour way. That might actually be a pretty good help, at least on fixing the gut. But anyway, and not making things worse. Hopefully. Anyway, I'll have to check that and hopefully get some raw milk and all that. So. There's always hope, right? But it really has drained me over the years, that's for sure. trying to figure out what it is, and all these deceptions and lies, and having doctors pretty much tell me not many not directly but indirectly that you're just a nutcase, right? It's all in your head and blah blah blah, and you just need some happy pills and all that. These people are insane. It's a maniac institution. Going to the doctor is like it's like going to an insane asylum, pretty much. So I don't give much in regards to these white coat murderers, that's for sure. These white coat butchers and misdiagnoses and symptom treatment and all that bullshit, and whatever they throw at you, just bullshit. Anyway, but I feel like I'm, in some sense, at least getting closer in regards of knowledge about these things. The question is, can I actually get over it? Can I actually at some point fix it? And that's the big question, of course, because it's just have become worse and worse over the years. Now, of course, I can't control one of my symptoms, which I wish I had knew like many years ago. And it's like a year ago I found out that if I only ate meat, the itch in the tip of my penis would actually be lowered a huge amount. And that's very nice, because that could drive you total nut, total nutcase, it's just incredible. Anyway, it's like the devil is down there itching. Anyway, I got that from a woman, in regards of, and yeah, it's like a devil, and when they have their issues in regards of fungal issues and all that, because it's seen mostly as a woman problem. But I think it's actually an overseen issue in regards of men. But in regards to women, it's much easier to actually, see that there's an issue, outwardly. So, diet against fungal things, because I think one of the things that ruins the health of us is fungi. Anyway, when it goes wild in regards of, I just understand that there's something in regards to the pH. It seems like the Candida, when it goes wild, it loves a higher pH. So when you have a low pH, like 3 pH or something like that, if you keep it low, the yeast form will not turn to its fungus form, the Candida albicans. But when the pH, begins to go up, then it can begin to, go wild. So, and I do wonder if you actually kill it, that actually makes sense, thinking about it. If you put antibiotics into you and you have the good bacteria that keeps, when you're making probiotics, like in milk, what does the milk become? Well, it hopefully becomes sour, right? In regards of, if there's any, of course, in regards of, the annihilated milk, we need to put some yogurt in it and all that. But over time, the milk should become sour, right? Because the good bacteria makes it's sour, and then the bad guys can't survive. It's like when you make sauerkraut, you put some salt in it. And salt is one of the other things that is good against these buggers. So you put some salt in it so the good bacteria can outrun the bad bacteria, and then it becomes sour, and all the bad guys dies off and all that. So anyway. But anyway, if you put, fungus poison down the gut, and you destroy the bacteria that might actually keep the gut in a low pH, and that the pH actually grows, well, what will then happen? Well, the fungal, the Candida will, of course, begin to grow. That actually makes sense. Putting all these pieces together, that actually makes total sense. And that might be what is actually happening. And when the fungus goes wild, it begins to grow out, and then it goes into it gets all these strings and grow into your blood, and then it releases its spores, and there you go. Having issues in your vagina or whatever, and many other symptoms coming about as the babies of the fungi are going around the body. And of course, then women gets a diflucan that treats not only the place of the vagina. No, diflucan is a whole body thing. It's a systemic thing that works systemic, so it works all over the body. And yet they think it's like the vagina one pill cure and all that. Well, maybe it does something else in regards to, killing off fungi other places in the body as well. Anyway. So fungi can be a single-celled or very complex multicellular cellular organism. That was a hard word. A complex multicellular organism. They are found in just about, so it can be a multicellular, I guess, in regards of, when it makes many, strings or whatever, it keeps together. I don't know. Complex multicellular organisms, they are found in just about any habitat, but most live on the land, mainly in soil or on plant material. And that was in regards of, I looked into the Bible in regards of mildew and, pretty much fungus, but mold and mildew. And you could see the mildew is, they talk about it in the Bible in regards of, was like plants or something like that, and green and so forth, or yellow color, yellow color. And I looked into and you have yellow color, anyway, the mildew can have like a yellow color and all that. So it seems to be, it's Leviticus like 14 or 15, or was it 13 or 14? I can't remember. But in Leviticus, it talks about fungi. It talks about, mold or whatever you want to call it, but it's, fungi, whatever. Mold is, as I understand it, just a fungi in a special pattern in regards of, and you have the yeast form. It's also a form of fungi, which is just in the yeast form, We actually, in Danish, we actually does call it fungi. We call it a gassvamp, and swamp means fungi. So we actually call it fungi. So it's like, I guess we call it yeast fungi. In one word, yeast fungi. That seems to be a pretty good translation. So yeah. Anyway, they're found in just about any habitat, but most live on the land, mainly in soil or on plant material, rather than in sea or fresh water. And in regards to the Bible, they have different colors of, if it has this color and that color and all that. Again, it's in Leviticus, I think it's 14 or 15, something like that. A group called the Decomposers grow in the soil or on dead plant matter, where they play an important role in the cycling of carbon and other elements. Some are parasites of plants. Parasites of plants, and animals and insects, and man. So some are parasites of plant causing diseases such as mildews, rust, scapes, or canker. I'm not sure what, mildews I've heard about that in regards of both mildew in houses and mildew in plants. I'm not sure if it's, because they seem to have mold and mildew too, but still fungi, I'm still having a little problem in regards to the classifications and all that. But fungi. Anyway, scapes or canker in crops, fungal disease can lead to significant monetary loss for the farmer. And that if you go into the Danish website, they talk about that mycotoxins is a problem in regards to the food sources and all that, and that can actually lead to cancer. Oh, they actually say directly that if you actually eat mycotoxins over time, you actually can have end up with cancer. Why would that be that you get cancer by eating mycotoxins, which is just fungus poison? Well, it might not only be the fungus poison that you, when you're ingesting all this fungus poison, you might actually suppress the immune system. And actually, if there's any spores of, they might actually begin to parasite you or live in you and do their thing. Anyway, and think that it's okay to live in a symbiosis. Actually, mostly it seems like they usually are out there to kill you, It might take some time, but at the end, it seems like they are doing actually, it's, looking at the hospitals where they kill people and all that, and feed them with sugar that pretty much, the fungi love sugar. Yeah, let's just feed them some more sugar. Yeah, that's just insane. They are just found in just about any habitat, but most live on the land, mainly in soil or on plant material rather than in sea or fresh water. A group called the Decomposers grow in the soil or on dead plant matter, where they play an important role in the cycling of carbon and other elements. But again, it just makes total sense in regards to the antibiotic. You take this fungi poison, which kills off bacteria. It kills off the good guys. It might take some of the bad guys, so-called bad. It depends on how you would, because some of the bad guys are actually, still, working for us, as long as the good guys are keeping them in check. But anyway, as I understand, you have like 20% of the good guys in your gut, then you have 30% that is neutral, then you have 50% of the bad guys. But as long as there's like 20% of the good guys are, controlling, the 30% of the neutral becomes good guys, they will take side, so if the bad guys are ruling, the neutral will go to and do work for the bad guys. But if the good guys of the 20%, is working, the 30% will become like good guys, and the bad guys will do their job. It's all kept in check. So, and the bad guys also do work for us and all that. So it's not all just because it's like bad guys or can do a lot of bad. It's not to say they're actually bad guys as long as they're kept in check by the police in some sense. That's as far as I understand in regards of the gut. So again, if you send down an antibiotic that wipes, let's say, 10% of the good guys of the 20%, well, you just totally, messed up the, biome, what is it called? Gut biome. And you might actually get in, they call this word dysbiosis or something like that, where you get, let's see, how do I say that in English in regards of better words, like child level words? It takes the, I don't know how to say that. I know it's possible to say it in a better word, but I can't really, it pretty much, it destroys the I guess terrain, but that's not the word I'm looking for. When you ruin the terrain and all that, but that's a little outside what I'm looking for. Balance. You destroy the balance. That would be one word. You destroy the balance, and then the fungi go. That makes total sense. In regards of that makes total sense. That's another one of these moments where I was like, oh, that makes sense. I had two other things that made sense to me in regards of, but I can't remember. I should write things down, but I guess things will come up to me again at some point. But thinking in regards of the issues of the fungi and seeing why I believe it's fungi and all that, and take it as a holistic way of looking at everything and not just localizing it, or what is called decompartmentalizing, decompartment, like the military, or many others actually, where they only need to know, you have these guys in a box, and these guys in a box, and these guys in a box, and they only know what they need to know to do their job. They don't know the total, Anyway, instead of actually looking at a holistic way, so the one guys in one box doesn't know what the other guys are doing in the other box, and and all the boxes and all that. And anyway. So, and then of course you can control it, and any case. So, where they play an important role in the cycling of carbon and other elements. Some are parasites or plants. Oh, really? Yeah, plants and animals and insects and man. Causing disease such as mildews, rust, scapes or canker in crops Oh, that was in regards to the crops. That was the Danish side actually talking about if you take mycotoxins, which is just fungus poison, from the fungal diseases that the crops might actually have had or have. And who knows if you, I don't know if they do anything in regards of the, there might be some, the spores are pretty small, right? So wouldn't be a surprise if any spores, the babies of fungi actually came along with the toxins. The mycotoxins apparently is a lot smaller, because as I understand you can't even see the mycotoxins, but anyway, they have ways in to check it out anyway. But as I understand it, under the microscope, it's impossible to see it. I'm not entirely sure, but you can see the spores of fungi under a microscope. But as I understand it, the mycotoxins or the toxins that they put out is much smaller. And that's a lot of a lot of bad things that they put out. Anyway, in crops, and that might actually work with the babies, to weaken the immune system. I would think that they would release, the mycotoxins while they, for example, if they let a lot, if they are ready to release their babies, a good thing would be to release a lot of their poison to make struggle in regards to the immune system. So the immune system have a lot harder time of actually catching these babies, Makes total sense, So anyway, and then make more damage to your body and so forward as you go, and make your life miserable and all that. Anyway, in crops, fungal diseases can lead to significant monetary loss for the farmer. A very small number of fungi cause diseases in animals. In humans, a very small number of fungi cause diseases in animals, they found 300 and something like that. But as I understand it, there's so many fungus species out there. Some say, what was it, 1.5 or 2 million or something like that, and they only know about 7,000 or something like that. But anyway, I can't remember the numbers, or I might get that wrong. But anyway, so a very small number of fungi causes diseases in animals. Well, that's enough, In humans, these include skin diseases such as athlete's foot, ringworm, and thrush. Spores being dispersed. Here we go in regard to spores. Here the babies of the fungi being released. Specialized structure containing spores. Apparently I cannot zoom. Aerial hyphae. Branching hyphae. So apparently there's different types of hyphas, apparently, I guess. So both of them are apparently called hyphae, the strings that they make. Hyphae dividing at tip and so forward there. How mycelium is formed and how spores are distributed. And mycelium, as I understand it, also those threads of the fungi. And how spores are distributed. Okay, I guess that's for the image or something like that. And anyway. So, here we have the yeast Saccharomyces Cerevisiae or something like that. And as you can see, the yeast forms a single cell, and it makes babies like there. Out there. I'm not sure how it actually... Doesn't it only make one at a time? I'm not sure. But in any case, the images that I've seen and the videos, it seems like it makes one. But maybe they can make more than one at a time. I don't know. But that, in any case. So you see all these scars on the yeast, and that is apparently a baby. Every time a baby is made, the scar is apparently showing up on the yeast. I don't know if they, if they die, after a while or something like that, having made a lot of babies. But I guess, you can't make, scars continue if, anyway, I don't know how that is working out. I guess they die at some point. I don't know. But as you can see, this one, for example, would have had given at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 babies, So it's the mother of 9 other yeast cells. So it's a single cell. So But yeah, very advanced, by the way, and very complex. If you actually, I have an image where they look into it and where it's making a baby and all that, and I've seen other things that, you know, it's incredible complex. But what would you, you know, it's like looking into the microbiology world, you find out there's a huge amount of complexity and design and code, and it's just amazing. But they will say no one created it apparently. No. It just came into, you know, with, you know, Big Bang apparently, and yeah, whatever. Lies of Satan, you know. You know, I remember, you know, reading a couple of times of people like needing, you know, these these bio that does microscope and all that, what's it called, microbiology, where they're sitting with the microscopes and they have to say to themselves, this is not designed, this is not designed, this is not, like a mantra, you know, because it looks designed. Maybe it looks designed because it is designed, you know. Anyway. You have, you know, all the anyway, the engineering work and the design and the code, and, you know, it's mind blowing. It's not only mind blowing, it's utter mind blowing. It's just you know, it's just you know, to see all that, and people are using, you know, their whole career on one subject, you know, single cell, you know, and or something in the single cell, or, you know, yeast of different, you know, it's just, you know, the different organism is just incredible. Anyway, it's so complex, you know. If you know, as I understand it, if you take the code of DNA and use it to, you know, regards of our body and all that, it would only be our big toe, and the rest of code that is in us, of organisms and all that, consists of foreign DNA. That's all the microbes and all that, adding up a huge amount of, you know, that's complex. We already know that the DNA code is way complex, you know, huge amount of complexity and all that. And then you figure out, well, it's actually only the toe of the whole body of code that we, you know, have in us, you know. Think about how that's complex. That's very complex. Anyway. So, budding yeast, Saccharomyces, Cerevisiae, scars, yellow, can be seen on the surface. It is used in the production of beer, wine, and bread. And again, the scars are from the babies, as far as I understand from the reading that I've done and all that. So here we have microscopic filamentous fly, agaric, fungus, and manita. And in regards to some pagans have a way of, or whatever you want to call it, some people have a way of eating these. I don't think you actually die of them, but you get a trip, you know. I guess you open up to the demonic world. So there's many ways to open up to these demons, and that might be one of the ways. And then you get, you know, deceived by these clever entities and led astray, you know. But anyway, so microscopic filamentous. I guess I'm not sure if they're showing, you know. I'm not entirely sure what they're trying to show in regards to the filamentous fly, agaric, fungus. I don't know, microscopic. Well, anyway, there we go. Thin in diameter, resembling a thread. Yeah, well, okay, whatever. So, and here we go to one of the, I guess, yeah, mold. Multicellular, that was, okay, so this is multicellular filamentous mold. Rhizopus nigricans growing on bread left in the moist plastic bag for 7 days. Tangled mycelium, that's the, you know, the strings, are visible, as well as sporangia sparing spores. So I guess the spores is the things that is up there. I've seen where you have mold and what was like 2 different species and you know, fighting for the food sources. I think it was actually on a bread as well. of the species was, at least it looks like this. Anyway, so we have honey mushroom fungus. The largest organism in the world when measured by area is the honey mushroom fungus Armillaria, or something like that. And if you actually see some of the things that people, when they take magic mushrooms or whatever they call them and all that, they have some of the same things which is being used for, as other fungi or parasites to actually control other organisms. It's incredible to see how parasites and, what is it called, larvae and fungi can actually control their host, with, you can see the banana fly, for example. And there's this fungi that's, takes over the banana fly, makes it crawl up on a higher level, according to the video I saw anyway. And actually, I think 2 videos actually about it, so that would be 2 witnesses. But anyway, so it digs down where it is, so it sticks to a place, and then the fungi pretty much comes out of its skin, and it's like it's something out of a horror movie, when you see these things that these fungi can do, So the fly dies and it lifts its wings, because this fungus apparently makes it lift its wings as well. And then the fungi just comes out of the fly, and when you can see it, like when they zoom, they really have a close-ups, the banana fly is not that big and all that. So they really have, you can really see it where they go in on the fly, and you can see these fungi and they shoot off the spores. And those spores are the babies, and if any banana fly is coming by, well, that's bad luck, or that's very, they might end up being fungi food, So what the fungi does in regards to the banana fly, it takes over, the banana fly, and kills it. It's the same thing with, in regards to rainforest. I saw a program in regards to rainforest where you had ants and you had, jumpers and you had different kinds of insects. And apparently different fungi could kill different kinds of insects, was targeting different kind of insects. And what they did was just pretty much kill them off and make more babies, So this is, it doesn't, there are, in regards of healing fungi and all that, people are talking about, I don't know, one have to be careful, that's for sure. I don't know how things overall, but there seems to be some fungi that actually can seemingly, help the immune system and all that, so I guess that's an area to look into. But the question is there anything in the fungi, even if they seem to help, is there anything that actually could also be bad, Is there in exchange of, that there might be some positive things, but there also might be some negative things, I don't know. Anyway, types of fungi. Fungi are subdivided on the basis of their life cycles, the presence or structure of their fruiting body, and the arrangement of and types of spores, reproductive or distributional cells they produce. Could be very interesting to get this education in Denmark in regards of fungi, because a lot of people started something. A lot of people have issues with fungi, and it's an overseen problem. So, it might, they have this course on the University of Copenhagen, and it might be, I would probably be able to learn something in regards of fungi and all that, how to, and if actually I could, if one could make a report in regards of Candida Albicans, that could be awesome, because that's absolutely, I think that's the enemy that I'm battling with, and I don't know if I'm ever going to totally, if I'm, it's winning at the moment. Let's, it's, I've been losing a lot of, what shall we say, battles, but hopefully I'll win the war in some sense. I don't know. I have there's a lot of information coming by and all that. But there's this education on the University of Copenhagen, NBIK1, 8,000 fungal biology, and I wonder, I don't know. It could be interesting. Yeah, it's in regards of mycology mostly recommend. Oh, there was some recommended academic qualifications and all that, but it's only recommended. So yeah. So, but one might actually get some. It's really hard to get some good sources, or at least there's so much bullshit out there. So it would be easy to just get through the bullshit. It's like 206 hours. So I'm not sure how long it actually goes. And I need to find out more information on that. But no one is going to help you. It seems. There's a lot of people out there having issues and trying to figure out and all that, and they are out. Anyway. So types of fungi. Fungi are subdivided on the basis of their life cycles, the presence or structure of their fruiting body, and the arrangement of and types of spores, reproductive or distributional cells they produce. Of course, one of the reasons why I have been trying to play these games was also to get some more information on the words and learning things and all that. But again, that's The three major groups of fungi are multicellular. Let's see if we can actually make it say it. Should be in the thing here.
Multicellular.
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 Multicellular. It's kind of hard to say, but anyway, multicellular. Multicellular. That's my second language, so bear with me. So multicellular filamentous molds. Filamentous. Let's try that as well.
Filamentous.
Filamentous. Okay. Thin in diameter resembling the thread. Yeah. Filamental-like, filiform, thread-like, 3D, thin, whatever. It's a string pretty much, I guess. So microscopic filaments. What was it? How did you say it again?
Filamentous.
Filamentous. So macroscopic filamentous fungi that form large fruiting bodies. Sometimes the group is referred to as mushrooms. So sometimes the group is referred to as mushrooms as well, okay? So I guess, mushrooms, fungi, again, I guess it's called being in the same ideology or something like that. They have something in regards of ideology where they are. But then again, you have ideology. I don't know. I'm spelling this wrong. I can't. Ideology maybe. Ideology. Oh my! I can't spell it. Oh, here we go. No. Ideology. There we go. I got it. An orientation that characterizes the thinking of a group or nation. So I guess mushrooms might be put in the same category as yeast and fungi and mold and mildew, and of course we have mushrooms. But the mushroom is just the part of the fungus we see above ground, which is also known as the fruiting body. So yeah, I remember looking into things that a lot of the fungi are actually growing in the earth, and then they come up with this thing to make babies or whatever. So single-celled microscopic yeast. So that would also, so the three major groups of fungi are, so that the multicellular filamentous molds, filamental. Oh, apparently it didn't really jump to it. Why didn't it jump to it? Copy. Let's try again. Apparently it doesn't want to jump to it. Oh, give me a break. Sometimes I just get tired of, why is this still on? You get annoyed, Filamentous, there we go.
Filamentous.
Filamentous. Yeah. Why can't it just go away? It would be easy in regards of programs if you just could say, close it down, and it would close it down, take it and say, close this down, or maybe, I don't know, maybe that's not, whatever. So single-celled microscopic yeast and all that. So we have mushrooms, we have molds, which is multicellular apparently, and we have single-celled, and yeah, again, it's still, I'm trying to figure things out, and I'm growing in regards to that. So I'm just trying the best that I can. But it would be interesting to actually maybe in regards to the education. Now, that's not the point. I actually rather wanted to learn Hebrew and all that, and Greek, and translate the Bible and all that at some point. I don't know if that will ever, but it would also be nice to actually, get over this, thing that I have nearly had for, around 20 years nearly. Well, actually, it might actually have been longer, because the problem might actually have started before I actually noticed anything was wrong in some sense. So, because of antibiotics or whatever, and then also the over drinking and smoking, and, where they're destroying the tobacco as well, apparently, where you have fungi poisons in those as well, as I understand it. So fungal populations and genetics and mating types. But it seems it would be an interesting course, I think. But again, I need some more information on it. There's a lot of words that I don't understand, because you always use all these stupid Latin, Greek words and all that. So the same thing with the articles that the doctors are writing and all. That's the problem, of course, because then the layman can't understand what they're saying, and usually it can just be translated to some words that people actually can understand, and yet they're not using those. So multicellular filamentous molds. So these are the molds. Let's see. Molds are made up of very fine threads, hyphae. Hyphae grow at the tip and divide repeatedly along their length, creating long and branching chains. The hyphae keep growing and intertwining until they form a network of threads called mycelium. So the hyphae keeps growing and intertwining until they form a network of threads called a mycelium. So I guess there's a little difference in regards to mycelium and the threads, the hyphae. So digestive enzymes are secreted from the hyphal tip. These enzymes break down the organic matter found in the soil into smaller molecules, which are used by the fungus as food. And of course, they also put out fungi poison. And in this, one of the videos I saw, they actually, you saw the two species of fungi, and they use the mycotoxins against the other, So again, it's I guess it's a survival thing or whatever, Some of the hyphal branches grow into the air, and spores form on these aerial branches. Spores are specialized structures with a protective coat that shields them from harsh environmental conditions such as drying out and high temperatures. So spores are special. Okay, here we have this. That's the babies, Let's try that again. Some of the hyphal branches grow into the air, and spores form on these aerial branches. I guess aerial means in the air or something like that, out in the open, or no, yeah, existing, living, growing, or operating in the air. Okay. So yeah, apparently you have hyphae or hyphals that goes, in the earth, and hyphals that goes. That's apparently how they clarifies it. Instead of, yeah. Oh, we have a problem in regards to the battery. But anyway. So some of the hyphal branches grow into the air, and spores form on these aerial branches, those out in the air. Spores are specialized structures with a protective coat that shields them from harsh environmental conditions such as drying out and high temperatures. They're so small that between 500 to 1,000 could fit on a pin head. And you can see those in regards to the videos of Candida, for example. You can see those spores, and there seems to be more kinds of spores and ways the fungal can, get it. There's a huge amount of weird things that these fungi can do. It's really like a horror movie, pretty much. So spores are specialized structures with, and again, that the spores will survive a heat treatment, for example. So when you heat the milk, you kill off all the good guys and the bad guys, and then the bad guys releases their spores. Oh yeah, great. Anyway, spores are similar to seeds as they enable the fungus to reproduce. Wind, rain, or insects spread spores. They eventually land in a new habitat, and if conditions are right, they start to grow and produce new hyphae. As fungi can't move, they use spores to find a new environment where there are fewer competing organisms. So, yeah. And again, I do wonder, it seems like that people can actually live without Candida. They talk about different numbers, like 40 to 50%. I think some actually says more, but says that people have Candida and can be, it can be shown and so forward. But by the poop coming out or the trash coming out or the mouth or whatever, But I do wonder if that is the case, then you can actually survive without Candida, without this fungi. But some say, that actually have that actually can do good as long as it is in its yeast form and all that in the gut and so forward. Now, there's so much complexity, and we really don't know much about things, it's. But if you actually can go on without this fungi, well, that's I guess if you're trying to kill it off, that's a nice thing to know. But I need some more information on that. I need to write to some of these experts, getting into their world in some sense. Microscopic filamentous fungi. Okay, so microscopic filamentous fungi also grow by producing a mycelium below ground. They differ from molds because they produce visible fruiting bodies, commonly known as mushroom or toadstools. Toadstools, that's an interesting word, toadstools. Let's have a look at that. So again, I guess that's some of the difference between mold and, I don't know, in regards of mildew, mold, whatever. I'm not sure. I'll, over time, hopefully, I'll get better to clarifying, what things are according to the world. Toadstools. Okay, apparently we get pictures of these kind of things. Okay, I don't know. I don't know if that is what they call toadstools. Maybe we could actually do like this and copy and get in there. Why is it actually not doing its things? Usually it did the same, put the, okay, just try that. Let me go. Toadstool, a common name for an inedible or poisonous agaric contrasting with the edible mushroom. So, okay, it's again, big words again. Agaric fungus used in the preparation of pung for fusers. A saprophytic fungus of the order Agaricales, having a umbilical cap with gills on the side. And that's also in regards to differences I remember there was something in regards to the undercells of the fungi as well. I can't remember. That was like two kinds, or was that two? No, maybe that wasn't only one. I named something. In the past I collected some mushrooms here and there and tried to learn a little about edible mushrooms and all that. And one of the poisonous mushrooms that you really have to be aware of in Denmark, because it can kill you, and it kills you. I think it takes like a day or something like that to kill you off. So it takes some time. It doesn't hit on the instant. but it's like a white mushroom. It's I guess it's one of these fly mushrooms. The black one that you saw with the white spots is, you know, you don't die of that. You know, you just get a trip, you know, in regards of it. But the white one and the green one just kills you. So that's the two main fungi to know about. You know, if you're going on mushroom hunting. But again, there's different positions in regards to the fungi, if it's actually eatable or not, if it's actually okay to eat them or not. Again, there are some of these medicinal fungi, you know, that is said to actually be positive and promote, you know, actually promote the immune system, you know, to pump it up. But then, I don't know. Anyway, it's still something I'm looking into. But there's, yeah, I've tried Shichika mushrooms, I think they're called. They are said to have like beta-glucan in them, and they don't have any sugar. So I know there's some beta-glucan in oats as well, and the beta-glucan is said to promote the immune system, you know. But you know, looking for a natural source of that, Shichika mushrooms apparently have that. But again, it's a fungi, and yeah, I don't know. Different opinions on that. Microscopic Filamentous fungi also grow by producing a mycelium below ground. They differ from molds because they produce visible fruiting bodies, commonly known as mushrooms or toadstools. Okay, the mushrooms, okay, that hold the spores. The fruiting body is made up of tightly packed hyphae, which divide to produce the different parts of the fungal structure. For example, the cap and the stem. Gills underneath, they're called gills. Okay, that makes sense, I guess. So the gills underneath are where the spores, as I remember, actually is found. But gills underneath the cap are covered with spores. So there we go. And the 10 centimeter diameter cap can produce up to 100 million spores per hour. But anyway, I must say they were very tasty. I was out where the lambs are going and sheep and all that, and I was collecting mushrooms out there, and they were very, very tasty. You know, they were very watery, you know, and tasty. So yeah, very good. But you had to be, you know, those kind of mushrooms, I can't remember what they're called, but you had to be aware of the gills, because the gills on the eatable is brownish, but on the poison, you know, fungus, it's actually white. I do wonder in regards of it would be, you know, it would be bad if one of these poisoners actually ended up transform, well, or I don't know. Any case, whatever. But that's one of the ways to check if they are of the, you know, if they're eatable or not. Or something to be aware of anyway. So yeast are small, lemon-shaped single cells that are about the same size as red blood cells, and that's what we saw up here. There we go. That's a picture of, you know, of these yeast cells. Looks like lemon, you know, shaped forms here, and so lemon-shaped single cells that are about the same size as red blood cells. They multiply by budding a daughter cell off from the original parent cell. Scars can be seen on the surface of the yeast cell where buds have broken off. We already talked about that, but of course it's always nice to get some confirmation. Yeast, such as Saccharomyces, play an important role in the production of bread and in brewing. Yeast are also one of the most widely used model organisms for genetic studies, for example in cancer research. Other species of yeast, such as Candida, apparently it's said Candida, are opportunistic pathogens, and pathogens are in regards of harmfulness, you know, harming, you know, things that harms you. and cause infections in individuals who do not have a healthy immune system. The problem is that in regards to the Candida albicans is that they are looking mostly on people with HIV and cancer. Now, of course, cancer is just, fungus issue. So, it's not a surprise that they would also find, Candida albicans in the. But anyway, but apparently yeast are also one of the most widely used model organisms for genetic studies, for example, in cancer research. I do wonder what that is about. So mycology, the study of fungus, characteristics of fungi, fungal diseases, and more. Almost every clinically active doctor is confronted with a fungal infection during their working life. It can be a foot or nail fungi if they are a family doctor, fungal pneumonia if they are a hemato-oncologist, or irritant diaperdermatitis if they are pediatrician, all these big words, right? What matters is knowing these mycoses. Mycosis is... if I remember correctly, is, the fungus infection, I think. Mycosis. Yeah, fungal infection. They couldn't just write fungal infection, right? They just need to use mycosis, right? Anyway, let's see if we can get some information. There's no... okay, anyway. Maybe I